Two highly successful business owners have shared their personal productivity methods that could become the framework for how you approach this new year. I've done what probably a lot of others have done to try to create a big successful year that I can be proud of. I've done resolutions, productivity hacking, endless task lists, and yet towards the end of each year, a lot of people, including myself, return to videos and content about how to make their next year the best year ever, which probably implies that this past year, whatever you were doing just didn't work out the way you wanted. So whether your goal is to build an income replacing business or to grow your business to a life-changing valuation and then to sell it, or to be healthy and a confident individual or to accomplish all of the above, I think it makes sense to look at those who have accomplished the things that you want to accomplish and have done so with a system that they continue to use each year, because this implies that it's worked well enough for them to continue doing what they're doing and that it's brought them real results. And there are two people online who shared some planning methods and philosophies that, when combined, I thought could be really powerful. And those two people are Jesse Itzler and Abdaal. You may have heard of them, they're pretty big online, but let's start with Jesse in case you don't know him. So after college, Jesse's first job was as a rapper and a songwriter, and he eventually started a business selling songs to NBA teams, which he actually eventually sold that business. And then he co-founded Marquis Jet, which became one of the largest private jet companies in the world, and was eventually acquired by Berkshire Hathaway. He's also part owner of the Atlanta Hawks, and he co-founded Zico Coconut Water, bringing coconut water to the US market, which was also eventually acquired by Coca-Cola. Overall, he has 5 exits under his belt. But beyond business, he's also an ultra-endurance runner, and I actually first heard of Jesse when he recounted his story about hiring an, at the time, relatively unknown former Navy SEAL and ultra-endurance runner David Goggins to live at his house for a month to pretty much kick his ass and help develop his resilience. So this guy has done a lot, both personally and professionally, and he attributes it to the way that he sets up his year. And that's what I want to share with you today. And what he does is he maps out the entire year on a one-page calendar. And in Jesse's case, he has his own version of the calendar, and he color codes his priorities for the year, and he assigns different colors for every day and what the focus is, both professionally and personally. And one thing I noticed when I saw the calendar with all 365 days on the page is that it actually doesn't look like that many days, which I think can help put things into perspective for you when prioritizing how many goals to have and what you even want to accomplish, because it forces you to define all of the tasks on each day that you need to perform leading up to arriving at that goal. But in that, I think there also lies another benefit, because if you've mapped out the specific days that you will be focusing on your business goals, it also gives you permission to know what days to disconnect and not focus on a business goal, and when to pay attention to other areas in your life that are important to you, such as being a good parent or a good spouse, as defined by spending meaningful time with your kids or your partner, or just spending time on a hobby without feeling guilty. Overall, I think this forces you to take an honest look at what it all takes so that you're not overwhelming yourself and ending up getting much less done than what you initially planned, which is easy to happen when you have all of your plans all bunched up in your mind, or even just mapped out as weeks or singular months on a calendar. Now, whether you buy this calendar or just print one out of your own, the important takeaway is that you have a bird's eye view of the entire year, and you're defining the things that are important to you ahead of time, and you're scheduling it in to protect the time from other things in your life that will inevitably pull your focus away from those goals. And I recommend keeping it clear and simple with just a few things, which leads to the Misogi challenge. So Jesse popularized a concept he refers to as the Misogi challenge, which is a term inspired by the Japanese ritual of misogi. A misogi is a defining event, and the idea behind the Misogi challenge is to choose one significant, challenging event or task to accomplish each year. And this event should be something that pushes you far outside of your comfort zone, both mentally and physically. Now, this is a business channel, so I'm sure many of you have business goals. So you could ask yourself, what would you consider your business misogi? Could it be to publish that book that you've been thinking of, to build a personal brand around an area of expertise or interest, to get your e-commerce store set up, selling a product that you'd love to sell? Whatever it is, define it and schedule it out. All right, next is Ali Abdaal. So this next point is one takeaway that Ali Abdaal talked about that I think can be a really helpful mindset in combination with the somewhat more tactical advice from Jesse. But first, if you don't know who Ali Abdaal is and why he's worth listening to on the subject of productivity, Ali was originally training to be a doctor, and he created a blog and a YouTube channel during that time to discuss productivity techniques to get through school and eventually work. And as the channel grew in popularity, he ultimately decided to quit his career as a doctor and built up his channel to now over 5 million subscribers, and he's become one of the most well-known productivity influencers today. And he just released a book called Feel Good Productivity, which explains his perspective on people who are most productive. Feel good productivity pretty much is the concept that when you can have fun with what you're doing, productivity just takes care of itself. And this isn't about just doing things that are fun, but the powerful part is making fun what others consider to be difficult. Let's say, for example, you take two content site owners who start their sites at the same time. Both need to learn SEO, content production, some website design, and really anything else you need to rank a site to drive traffic. But all things considered equal, the person who's enjoying this process is likely going to be the one who actually succeeds. And as Ollie says about his book, because if you're having fun, you become more productive, you're more creative, you're less stressed, and you have more energy to give to the other parts of your life as well. And this part resonated with me because I personally find myself to be so attached to goals sometimes, so focused on work, that I just shut out other parts of my life, all because it felt so serious at the time, or I didn't want to drop the ball. And I think there may be times for that where sometimes you just need to grind and shut out everything else. But I can also foresee the very real scenario where if I worked that way as a long-term strategy and even accomplished the things that I wanted to, but at the sacrifice of relationships or health or other areas of my life that I actually do care about, then I don't know if I actually will feel really successful, or perhaps won't value the things that I accomplished as much. So you can get the book if you want to, but you can also just think on this point if it's something that you also have trouble with. And I think this philosophy, as I mentioned, combined with the earlier strategy about mapping the entire year out, will hopefully help you to accomplish what you want while having a great time doing it. And if I were to think about a truly great year, that is how I would define it. So if your goal is to launch a product, to grow a content site, to sell a business, I hope you can do so with a clear mind and feeling good about the process. And if your goals are related to buying or selling a business, to help you accomplish that, I'd recommend speaking with us because we can help you with a roadmap specifically for those things, especially if you're unsure about when or if you want to buy or sell a business. But if you're not ready for that, then I invite you to join our free weekly newsletter called This Week in M&A, which goes live every Friday to show you what others in the space are doing this year. And I'll leave a link to that below. And speaking of transformations, if you're curious to hear about the pivotal decisions that Mark Manson made to go from obscure blogger in the dating industry to a famous multi-million-dollar best-selling author, then click on the video here. And with that said, take care, and I wish you an amazing year.